Hello, my friends. Today we're going to do a story about Pedro Kantor and his Crimson Fists in the reclamations of the Jaden Mountains. This is after the battle for Rin's World, in which the orcs had nearly destroyed the entire chapter of the Crimson Fists as well as their fortress monastery. Crimson Fists are an Imperial Fist successor chapter, and yeah, they're pretty cool, so I hope you guys like the story. I didn't write any of this, it's all from the 5th edition Space Marines Codex. So here we go. Many know the tragedy of the Crimson Fists, of how the mighty chapter was brought low by Snagrod and the most damnable fortune. Even more widespread is the legend of the Crimson Fists' heroic struggle to survive, to rebuild their brotherhood from the ashes of war. One tale is not so widely told, and known only to Chapter Master Pedro Kantor and his closest battle brothers. The tale begins a half-year after the reclamation of Rin's World from Snagrod. Although the planet was officially designated as secure, orcs were ever difficult to eradicate. Several greenskin warbands were known to be lurking in the Jaden Mountains, conducting raids that the weary and war-torn populace of Rin's World could ill afford. As the Crimson Fist's surviving tech marines salvaged and repaired what little had survived the Wa, meanwhile, Kantor dedicated himself to cleansing the Jaden Mountains of the beasts that lurked within. It was a difficult campaign, for the orcs defended every crag and cavern, and Kantor had neither the men nor the equipment he would have wished for such a task. Nonetheless, the Crimson Fist forged on, slaying greenskins wherever they could be found. Under such a threat, it was perhaps only a matter of time before the orcs of Jaden Mountains united. So it was that, when Kantor's force came under attack in Trader's Gorge, they found themselves assailed not only by the warband they had been hunting, but every orc for leagues in every direction. Though but 24 in number, Kantor and his Crimson Fist fought as heroes born of legend, taking a grievous toll on an orc horde that numbered hundreds. With Kantor at the forefront, the Space Marines battled their way clear of the ravine's treacherous confines and sought the high ground. There they planted their feet and fought shoulder to shoulder against the horde, but still the orcs kept coming. With all the Crimson Fist's Thunderhawk gunships lost in battle or under heavy repair, Kantor knew that both evacuation and reinforcement were impossible, and the orcs showed no sign of giving up on the battle. 3 of Kantor's battle brothers had been slain in the escape from the ravine, and only the chapter master remained unwounded. In return, the Crimson Fists licked the dirt of Trader's Gorge red with the blood of slain greenskins, and fought from behind barricades of lumpen orcish dead, but Kantor knew that the odds were stacked against him. Without warning, the greenskin tide began to slacken. Seeking the reason, Kantor's keen eye saw ghostly figures on Widow's Spire to the west and Dark Ridge to the east, high above and behind the encircling orcs. Graceful were these newcomers, darting from cover to cover and paying no heed to the treacherous footing as their long rifles brought precise death to the orc horde. Who his fresh allies were, Kantor could not immediately tell, for their forms shimmered as insubstantial as mist in the morning sunlight. But nor did he care. All that mattered was that this intervention gave his battle brothers the chance that they needed to counterattack and turn the battle's tide. Giving a mighty shout, the Crimson Fist charged over their rampart of dead greenskins and set upon the orcs with new vigor. Caught between the redoubled rage of the Crimson Fists and fresh attackers on the slopes, the orcs were thrust back. The greenskins fled down Trader's Gorge, leaving more than 10 score dead and twice as many wounded behind them, as Kantor's men walked amongst the carnage, ending the lives of those orcs too foolhardy or injured to flee. A robed figure detached itself from the shadows clusters on Widow's Spire and strode swiftly to Kantor's side. Coldly contemptuous of any threat posed by the watchful Space Marines, it cut through the chapter master's wary greeting. "The surviving beasts cower in the shadows below, ensnared in a web of our devising. Pursue them into the darkness, and a great victory shall be yours." "And should I choose not to do so?" Kantor asked, for he could not bring himself to place his trust in the elaborately helmed alien that stood before him. "Then they will escape and grow ever stronger in the darkness. In 50 years, a shadow of their making will arise to envelop this area of space, which, unopposed, shall be the doom of your people and mine. Catastrophe will reign, and you shall lament your inaction this day." "Will you aid us in the gorge as you did here?" Kantor demanded, but the figure shook its head. "Be not so swift to embrace us as allies. Auspicious fate dictated that we should fight side by side this day, but fate is a fickle creature. At our next encounter it will be my fists that bear the stain of your blood." And with that, the alien turned and was gone, and the shadows that lurked amongst the scree of Widow's Spire and Dark Ridge were gone also. Kantor weighed the words and actions he had borne witness to, and led his men into Traitor's Gorge. There in the darkness, great victory was indeed his, forever ending the orc threat in the Jaden Mountains. Returning to the lowlands, Kantor continued the rebuilding of his chapter, and in time raised the Crimson Fists out of ruin to once more stand alongside the greatest champions of mankind. But in all the years of triumph that followed, the robed figure's words would dwell heavily on Kantor until at last they met again. So there's the story. I hope you guys liked it. Just thought I'd do a little Space Marine themed story because the next video is going to be a bunch of Space Marine lore as well as a big giant Space Marine workout. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be pretty awesome. I've been working pretty hard on it. It's going to be a pretty long video and the workout's going to be pretty ridiculous. So, hope you guys enjoy the story. As always, drop in the comments below any stories or characters you want me to cover next. Love you guys, stay jacked out there, and work hard.